several times, at least since we bought the building in 2012, 2013. But I understand what you're asking about, smaller intimate meetings.
Since we are the people directly affected by this, all of this that's going on.
Of course. So we.
Can I add to that one? In this case, with this project, typically we do have single member district meetings where the presentations are done. However, because of what these issues were, in terms of the parking, which we approved a few years ago, it did not seem as if it was necessary, and also for the roof structure. So no, I did not feel as if we needed additional meeting to discuss that.
I appreciate that. I think my question was more to Douglas Development and what they felt was necessary in terms of keeping the community involved.
They do keep the.
Okay, thank you. And so, let me just real quickly, and we consult with our SMD to see, you know, should we have a smaller SMD meeting? What are your thoughts? So it's never us deciding, okay, we want to have a meeting. We consult with our constituents and we ask them, this is what the project's going to be. Should we meet with SMD? Should we come to full commission? And every time we're here, we talk about the entire site. So it's our thought then.
And if I may, I've been very impressed with the level of stakeholder engagement that Douglas Development undertakes. It's really unprecedented, and I think they serve as a model for every developer in terms of coming to the community, getting feedback, listening substantively to your concerns and comments, and actually incorporating them into the design as it unfolds. I've also had the pleasure of attending single member district meetings. I'd like to commend you, Commissioner Lewis. Your citizens are very engaged. They rely on you and they trust you, and they trust you, Douglas Development Team, because you've come to them, you've been authentic, you've been open, and you've answered questions, and you've actually addressed our concerns. So I think the process is instructive, and certainly I'd like to see all developers replicate that strong level of community engagement. Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
What's the timeline timeframe for development, construction, opening
For
for
Compass,
this project?
so we're in for permit right now, and the goal is for the entire building to be done at the end of the year. Compass Coffee is this summer. Give or take a few months.
Yes, ma'am.
Just out of curiosity, is the parking, the existing parking garage expected to remain free of charge?
It's currently being automated right now because it has multiple uses. There's retail, also residential, and with the Planet Fitness, everybody has sort of a different, I think, I shouldn't speak for you, but I think the landlord has different deals with every retail tenant. But I do know that there have been arms installed. They're not functioning yet, but they will be soon. But I was instructed or informed today that everybody will have 2 free hours of parking. All retail tenants will give 2 free hours of parking. So I think the idea is that you can't just keep your car there for
Good.
days or weeks at a time.
Good. I want to go on the record. I oppose paying for parking and charging citizens for parking, so we'll be pushing to make sure the parking is free. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Well, in keeping with the agenda, Commissioner Lewis, is there a motion to support the relief requested for Douglas Development?
Yes, I put the motion on the floor to support the need for this project.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we provide that this commission support the relief requested for BZA case number 19200, address 1401 Kobe Street Northeast. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes, and again, thank you so much, and I want the record to clearly reflect that you all are standard bearers for other developers in this city, and I look forward to 2016, to every developer in this city, when they come to the community, when they bring you projects, that they're quality projects, that they engage you, and that they answer your questions, and that they deliver a quality project like you all are doing. So it's been moved and properly seconded. We've given you your relief, and I'll make sure that you get a signed letter reflecting the will of this commission.
Would you like us to draft you a letter?
You can draft it. I certainly will be editing it,
Okay.
and to make sure that it's reflective of the true spirit.
Wonderful.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I mean, you can write it, that's fine. We want you to be fully invested in your position, so you write it.
Yes, please, because that's how we typically do.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's right. There, ladies and gentlemen, there is an omission from the agenda, 1100 Penn Street, or rear stair. We're gonna add them to the agenda real quick. I understand they're here. This project is what, for Gibbs Road 1375? Okay, you have the floor.
Hi, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much, Board of Commissioners. I really appreciate you giving me the moment to speak. I have a just quick and simple request for your support for a special exception. The zoning code governing roof structures, that's the mechanical units that provide heating, cooling, and ventilation into buildings. The requirements basically are just to regulate so that there's a certain level of of aesthetic quality throughout the district, and so that there is so the one way to regulate that is to provide roof screens. So there's just a screen around the mechanical unit, and that screen has in the requirements just some certain dimensional requirements that go along with that. At the KIPP school, we had a renovation that had a mix of both renovated spaces and new spaces with these upgraded mechanical systems. So there are 2 roofs with 2 mechanical units, and each mechanical unit has a roof screen around it. Those roof screens were installed as the permit drawings showed, and the permit drawings were approved and had no issue. It was just that there are different interpretations of how the screening needed to be, and so the special exception that we're asking for this evening is to allow the roof screens that are currently in place to remain as final. So I wanted to make my presentation quick. I know you have an ambitious schedule. If there's
Yes.
any questions.
First, Ms. Chatham.
Chatburn.
Chatburn. It has been the practice of this commission to request all development plans prior to the meeting so that we have an opportunity to thoroughly read them, ask any questions, and you shouldn't be reaching out to the single member district commissioner to ascertain any issues, and if that commissioner wants to hold a single member district meeting to ascertain the will of his or her constituents, certainly that is appropriate. I see you, Commissioner Shropshire, so I just want to say that. Now, the matter before us is a relatively simple matter, which I think we can allow you to proceed, but I want to go ahead and recognize Commissioner Shropshire.
So I did hold a single member district meeting for the applicant to come before my constituents and to garner their feedback. And I also sent this out to all commissioners 2 days ago so that you can actually take a look at this. I sent it to personal emails and to your ANC.
Okay, then I have a question. Sure. Or to Commissioner Shropshire. I'm actually a little bit confused about all of the addresses, so my question is this one of the ones that we received emails as commissioners alone in which residents were objecting to the project?
No.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Are there any questions from the audience?
Yeah, there are. And it was kind of very, probably the whole line. I was at the meeting that we had we came to a conclusion about this project that you're talking about. And there was some question about you working with neighbors about the bright lights that we supposed to, are y'all still looking at that? You still gonna do something about that?
Yes, I can answer that for you on this side. I had an opportunity to review the lighting, and we did recognize that there is one specific light that stays on, and so we're currently working with our facility engineers to adjust the timing of the lighting so then it doesn't reflect off of the house across the street.
I think it needs to.
Okay, I'll definitely double check, but yeah,
And what's your name, ma'am?
it's Lorraine Ramos.
Lorraine Ramos. See, that's what we like to hear. You know, developers and project proponents coming forward to address valid neighborhood concerns. So that's great. So we look forward to diminishing of those lights to protect the interests of those neighbors. Any other questions or concerns? Mr. Shropshire, is there a motion to approve? This is simply a penthouse mechanical screening. So essentially you want to soften the view and the appearance.
So the screens are
Okay.
already in place, and they were already reviewed by zoning. Zoning staff already agrees that they are in compliance with the intent of the zoning regulations, if not the most recent interpretation of the dimensional requirements, which is why we're asking for that special exception. Have it remain as is.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yes. I move to approve the request for a special exception for the rooftop structure and to permit the renovation to remain as is.
I second it.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the KIP DC Group K Web Campus request for a special exception regarding their penthouse screening. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay, there's no, the one exception, it's been moved and properly seconded, well, it passes, one exception.
Great. Thank you.
Anyone opposed? No opposition, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Still on time, all right. The next one is relatively simple, is the proponent for 1100 Penn Street here? Quickly come forward. It's not on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, please accept my apology, that is an omission. Tell me your name again, sir.
Andre Burwell.
Mr. Burwell did attend the December meeting. We had a discussion, provided the plans. It's simply a rear. I'll let you quickly give a recap.
Yeah, I'll be very quick, very quick.
Okay.
1107 Penn Street is a 4-unit apartment building that's been renovated. Still apartments by the owner. We have 2 units downstairs, 2 units upstairs. The existing building already extends beyond the rear setback of the building. There was an existing egress there, which had a very strange configuration on how you were able to leave the building. It came into a very narrow corridor that came down some long steps that were in disrepair, and it actually extended further into the setback than what we are proposing. The reason we're applying for the variance again is for the setback requirement and for the land occupancy as well. What we would like to have, the reason for having the stairs for the second level, the zoning will allow us to have stairs for the 2 units on the bottom floor, but not on the second floor as a part of their exception to their setback. But that would force the tenants on the second floor to have to walk out of the front of the building, down the street, down the alleyway, and into the back to take out trash. And in the winter, when it's snowy and it's icy, that has slopes in both 2 different directions in that alleyway, and it's not necessarily safe for travel. And if they have to put the trash out at night, it might not necessarily be safe for crime reasons as well. So we would like to have the rear deck up, not a deck, but the rear landing and a set of stairs so that they can go into their closed off yard, put the trash out, it's lit, it can be maintained, the snow can be cleared, the area can be cleared, and it's much safer for the tenants in the building. I have you probably can't see it, but I do have pictures of the what we're proposing to do. It's not very large, it's the minimum size that we can put.
Excuse me, Mr. Burwell, what did the commission ask you to do when you returned to the commission? Didn't we ask you to
You wanted to have
ascertain the neighbors' support?
Right, yeah, and it was through the holidays. I have not been able to reach the neighbors through those holidays.
And when do you, so this is a BZA case?
Yes, it
When
is
is your
BZA.
BZA hearing?
It's on the 26th of this month.
Commissioner Lee, this is in your single member district. The will of this commission was to make sure that Mr. Burwell, through you, ascertained the will of your constituents regarding this issue. Because we did hear some opposition and some concerns at the December meeting.
No one actually brought anything up at the December meeting. I didn't, at least I did, I would have addressed it, but I didn't know that there was any opposition. I haven't heard any opposition.
Yes.
Well, his BZA application shows his letters that he sent out to the neighbors, and it is just a matter of replacing the stairwell that was there. You know, in our neighborhoods, everybody's yard is a different size. This is at the alley at the end. So when they took down the old steps, because of the new rules, the city wouldn't let them put back the new steps.
Right.
So the building has already been renovated. Are there any residents of the building, 1100 Penn Street here? But we didn't get any opposition. Commissioner Henderson and myself were at the December meeting. We did not have a quorum. He was invited at that time because of his date. I'm not opposed to it. I didn't hear any opposition at that meeting. We had very few people here at that December meeting. It's a safety issue. And it's a safety issue for one home that the home is already completed. It was an eyesore, it was a problem house in the neighborhood, 1100 Penn Street, right there at West Virginia Avenue in Penn. I'm not opposed to it. I did not bring it to the neighbors because it's just a matter of, you know, if you do these new renovations as we do in our neighborhoods, and this is still, they didn't change the building. They just renovated the inside of the apartment,
Right.
the 4 units. So they did go back, it was an empty building, so now we've got additional housing in the neighborhood. I'm not opposed to it. It's a simple matter of just having the neighbors be able to go down, exit out of their house in their pajamas and put their trash in before trash day.
Thank you. Commissioner Lewis, did you have a brief comment?
I was going to ask the question, since I wasn't at the meeting, if the property currently does not have steps.
Well,
Because if it's a replacement, I would think there's nothing in place at all. And my apologies.
Yeah,
if
no,
you
no,
have to
it's fine.
restate, but I
Yeah, it's fine.
wasn't here.
There was a set of steps that, right now, the steps were gone after the renovation, because the steps were in disrepair. They weren't safe. And they didn't even really meet code as they were constructed at the time. So we had those removed. And, so that's why and they wouldn't have worked for the new configuration of the units. I think everybody got to set up the plans of the renovations. So it wouldn't, the existing steps wouldn't work for the renovation of the units, the way it's configured.
I think it makes sense that we allow you to move forward with your request. This is a safety issue. We had an excellent turnout at the December meeting. It was a lively discussion. We did not have a quorum, but I don't have any objections to approving this issue now. Ms. Shropshire, and then we're gonna move on.
Can you just repeat what the relief is that you're asking for?
The relief?
And one more thing, I just wanted to ask, Commissioner Lee, if he, attempted to have any meetings with constituents so that he could get community feedback regarding your request.
To answer the question, no, I didn't, because as I met with him at the property, I just clearly see there was no steps. And there's a back door there for the apartments and no steps. So I want to leave out the back of my house. I figured they want to leave out the back of theirs.
And it doesn't affect anyone.
No, it doesn't affect anybody. The steps go down into the yard. It's just that this little bit of this last lot, the yard is smaller than the rest of the yards because of the alley, and I guess they widened the alley and they sort of curved it and took off some of the end of the yard.
Right.
So that's the reason why, if you look at the houses next door to it, the steps are raggedy, that building's not renovated, so he's bringing something to the block, and he's setting the standard, and what's, these new renovations should be, so I didn't feel it was a need to bring everybody out with that one issue.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lee?
What's your relief?
The relief is for the rear yard setback and the lot occupancy. The rear yard setback is 20 feet, but the existing building is already beyond 20 feet. And the existing stairs actually went further into the setback, and then we're planning to do those stairs.
Okay. Is there a motion to support the request of relief?
I'd like to make a motion to report the relief with 1100 Penn Street.
Is it 1107?
It's 1107.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let the record reflect that it's 1107 Penn Street. It's been moved and properly seconded that this commission vote in support of the requested relief. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? The motion passes. I thank you, Mr. Burwell.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Okay, the next case on our agenda is BZA case, and for anyone that needs a clarification, BZA is simply the acronym for Board of Zoning Adjustment. It's case 19173, address 1264 Holbrook Street. Are there any representatives for that case? Okay, please come forward. And while you're passing those out, can you please tell me what is your zoning hearing?
I think it's February.
It's February 9th.
Good evening. I'm Rami Ali from Ram Design, the project architect for 1264 Holbrook Terrace. And with me is Mr. Morris Sullivan and Tori Barros, the zoning counselor for the project, and Ms. Ari Gilbert, the developer and the owner of 1264 Holbrook Terrace. I can just go for a quick brief on the project as it is, and then I can share some of the concerns that we got from neighbors and how we responded to them. The project, as you know, is located on 1264 Holbrook Terrace. Right now, there's an existing single-family house on the property, and the lot is around 7,500 square feet. And we're doing a conversion from a single-family to an 8-unit condo building. Prior to June 26 of 2015, last year, the project was a by right project, allowing 1 unit per 900 square feet of lot. So, which, given the big lot of this particular property, it gave us up to 8 units, and that's why the project was designed the way it is as 8-unit condo building. The project faces Holbrook Terrace and makes up as a U-shaped building with a courtyard in the middle, a central stair serving 2 units per floor. The building facing Holbrook Terrace is 3 stories and a cellar, and since the land itself slopes towards the alley, making 4 stories facing the alley. The project also will have a rooftop deck and a landscaped area, along with access from a public alley that before last Saturday, we had proposed 6 parking spaces, trash area, and with a dumpster, and everything is accessible from the back alley. The building, as far as the facade, is consistent with adjacent buildings as far as the materials used. We're going with simple brick, red tone to match some of the surrounding buildings. The block in general, we did the count earlier today. We have almost 33 buildings on this block, on both of Holbrook Terrace Northeast. 11 buildings of this block contain of single-family dwellings. The remaining 22 buildings are all of apartment buildings, and the apartment buildings actually move further south, starting from one building from 1264 Holbrook Terrace. The first time we met with the neighbors as a group was just past weekend. And we had some concerns that actually we noted down, and we actually, between Saturday and today, we have responded to a majority of them. And I did not read the packages of our responses and our revisions because we would like to share them with the neighbors and see their take on it. This way we can see what would work better for them and whatnot. If you have any questions regarding the project as it is, before I go to the concerns, I'll be happy to take them.
Since you have to go back to the neighbors, and since they did send documented objections to us, I would recommend, and this is what some of the residents also recommend, was that we hold the vote for your project for a later date. So since you've already admitted that you need to go meet with them again, I would like my fellow commissioners to actually vote to hold a vote for your project.
Yes, I'm actually reading an email from, let's see, Mr.
Because we want
Craig
to
Robinson,
support it if that's what the resolution.
outlining a number of concerns, and I actually concur with Commissioner Lewis's suggestion that we incorporate, because one, this is the first time I'm seeing this, and again, we don't need to get into the habit of simply rubber stamping requests for variances and moving forward. We want to make sure, and I think it's the duty of this commission to ensure that residents' voices are heard and that residents have a reasonable opportunity to make sure that they ask questions and receive clarity and have their input incorporated into the design. And that often can take a couple of meetings and a lot of give and take. So we want to make sure that that process has an opportunity to unfold. And a meeting that just happened a few days ago, in my mind, does not sound like the residents were given a full opportunity to be heard. Commissioner Shropshire.
So as the ANC commissioner for this single member district where this project resides, or is being proposed, I actually want to just share with the public that ANC has great weight when it comes to weighing out on BZA cases. So as the reason why we had community feedback, and I hosted a meeting, but there were also other meetings that have been held in the community. There was one that was back in December that was hosted by another resident where the director of the Office of Zoning came out and she actually explained some things. So my actual recommendation would be that we actually, but based on the information that I received from my constituents, there's a whole list of adverse impacts that they have actually identified, and I have them here, I can read them. I would propose that we actually take a vote, because given the time frame within we're able to comment on this case, it is like we can get great weight to identify those concerns that the communities have at this moment. There is no guarantee that there will be another opportunity to do this, so I would actually recommend that we take a vote and support what the community concerns are.
Commissioner Lewis, and then sir, please identify yourself. Commissioner Lewis, briefly.
Okay, my question, because if we vote, we're going to vote not to, or I'm going to vote not to support it, because I'm going to vote with the residents. However, to be fair to the developer, if he's in the work of addressing their issues, shouldn't they have that timeline to do so by us just requesting that his case is pushed back? If he's willing to have his case pushed back?
There is opportunity to work with the community, and I know that their case, the applicant can request another hearing date. We as the commission can't do that. We can write a letter in, but we're given this opportunity now to weigh in and actually file an ANC report that indicates this is what the community concerns are, and it's a formal way of doing that.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Please identify yourself.
Thank you. My name's Marty Sullivan, zoning counsel for the applicant. We haven't seen, I mean, we heard the concerns on Saturday. We haven't seen that email or that big list. We're happy to postpone the hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Thank you
Thank
very much. Thank you.
Come back next month. I mean,
Thank you very much.
If you have substantive comments now too, we'd love to go through that too, because I think it'd be more productive for us.
There we go.
as well.
Is there a motion to ask or to is my understanding, Mr. Sullivan, you will request the BZA
Sure.
For an extension. Is there a motion to support that request for an extension from the BZA?
Someone has to put a motion in, or?
Yeah, is there there a motion for the commission?
I would actually like to hear the concerns that you're aware of.
I'm sorry, we don't have time to address that.
Yeah, I think that.
Can we make a motion to send debate by 1 minute to share the concerns?
No.
So we know about that, right?
Now, I can actually, I can express those concerns, and actually several of my constituents are here in this meeting, and I think that they would definitely like an opportunity to share what their concerns were, so you could hear them.
I'm assuming, Commissioner Shropshire, that you will have an additional meetings with your
Yes.
constituents, so that you'll have an opportunity to fully vet that.
We sent her stuff in writing, and she allowed it at least, we're here.
No, that's fine, if you quickly, we just wanna make sure that we can address everything on the agenda and end the meeting on time. But we wanna make sure that you have ample time to discuss this, so ma'am, quickly.
And we're not trying to say that we want to support the project, we
I'm
want to
not
give the
even
community the
insinuating.
opportunity.
Ma'am, please identify yourself, what's your
My
name?
name is Delisa Barron, I live on Holbrook Terrace.
Thank you, please very quickly address your concerns.
My concern with the project is on that location, it was a single family home, to take that and put 8 units, it's going to cause a lot of hardship. It's not harmonic with the community. There is a senior citizen that lives right next door, who's gonna be pushed out eventually because of it. Parking on our street, I estimate, a one-way street, it's about 70 or 80 spaces, we're at capacity now. And even if they provide parking spaces, people are, if you provide 5 or 8, you make it 16 cars that come.
Thank you.
I'm worried about sewage, structural infrastructure, we have other lots, we have other projects going on, and everything should be considered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In looking at this, the project does look pretty massive, so I look forward to you going back and listening to Commissioner Shropshire's constituents and moving forward. Is there a second to the motion to support?
There wasn't a motion.
They're just gonna voluntarily extend it.
Very quickly, Commissioner Dumas, and then we're gonna move on.
I would like
She is
to,
a former commissioner.
I would like to address the BCA case for 19173. I did have an opportunity August the 6th, 2013, to support Ms. Irene, I can't get your name right at this moment because I'm not reading it, to support her buying